up? What up? This is take two. I guess everything decided to crash on me the first time, but uh, back for take two here of Bengals Steelers post game reaction. My name is Chris Asbrock of the Chris Asbrock Show and FeelTheImpactSports.com, Impact Sports Cincinnati. Like I said, just got back to my in-laws about a little bit ago from the stadium. This one was a crushing one. This was not a good game today. In any sense of the imagination, this was a rough one. Once again, the Bengals they fall. They fall to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 28-21, in a game that the Bengals held the lead late and coughed it up in the final minutes of the game. And that's just that's prototypical of this organization when they face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Plain and simple. I deleted my first upload, so I'm going to kind of go back, and if you're watching this, if you're watching it live last time, I apologize because I'm going to repeat myself. But this team and this organization are never going to get over the hump of playing the Pittsburgh Steelers and beating them until they look at it completely different. Plain and simple. This organization looks at Pittsburgh Steelers games as just another football game. Now, folks, this is not just another football game. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers, every single time they play the Bengals, and probably every team in the division. I don't know. I'm not a Steelers fan. I despise that team. But Steelers fans can probably tell me, that the Steelers look at at least division, single time we play the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially here in Cincinnati. This is absolutely ridiculous, and things are not going to change until this organization and this coaching staff goes about it at a different way. Folks, this is Steelers week. Marvin Lewis, this is Steelers week. I need you to look at it that way. Get your guys jacked up. It's not just another freaking football game. This is a game against a hated rival who owns us in our own damn stadium. That has to stop. Plain and simple, has to stop. This team needs to man up and look at it at a different way and say this is Steelers week, and they need to approach it this way. It's not just another football game. Therefore, our team comes out and they, today, they didn't look like they knew what the hell was going on half the time. Defensively, they struggled big time. They flat out struggled. Andy Dalton, I thought, played one hell of a football game. He was 26 of 42 for 229 yards. He was sacked 3 times, of course, because our line sucked. He did throw 2 touchdowns. He had a quarterback rating of 92.3. Now, Andy Dalton was the victim of a couple horrible drops by guys to where you couldn't get into a rhythm. That part was maddening because you see, there was a couple plays where couple great throws by Dalton, and they hit either A.J. Green, I believe Tyler Boyd had one. I could be wrong on Boyd. I can't remember off the top of my head. And the ball hits him right in the hands, right in the chest, and drop it. And it's tough to get into a rhythm if you're a quarterback, if your receivers can't catch the damn ball. Now, this overall was not one of our, obviously, prouder moments here in Cincinnati as one of our, in another game to where, the Bengals last year, same situation. They were up 17-0 here, or in that game there, and they ended up losing in the final minute on field goal. They lose 23-20. Here again, we take the lead with 1:18 to go, and what do? The defense just gives up, and gives up, and gives up, and gives up. And, this is a defense that I have campaigned like crazy that this is one of the top defenses in the league. And they, in a game like this and some of these games that they've, prior, they've made me look stupid. And I'm not going to lie, that's upsetting because I had a lot of faith in this team. This defense has completely let me down. And in a game like this, you cannot get any. They got one quarterback hurry on Ben Roethlisberger today. That offensive line did a fantastic job. Tip of the cap to the Pittsburgh Steelers O-line because Ben had ungodly amounts of time to throw the football today. And by God, he did. He was 32 of 46, 369 yards for a touchdown and no interceptions for a quarterback rating of 100.7. Juju Smith-Schuster was his top target. He targeted him 10 times, and he had 7 receptions for 111 yards. His longest was 29 yards. Vance McDonald, the tight end. The tight ends continue to kill the Cincinnati Bengals, and Steelers tight ends continue to kill the Cincinnati Bengals. Jesse James, Vance McDonald, Xavier Grimble, they were fantastic. Vance McDonald, 7 receptions for 68 yards. His longest was 26. Jesse James, 5 of 7. He was targeted 7 times. 5 receptions for 26. And Xavier Grimble, 2 and 2 for 35 yards. His longest was 22 yards. They just continued. They took it to us, and until this team changes their mindset, it's not going to change. It's not going to change, and that absolutely upsets me. It's sickening that this team continues to look at it a different way, and the Steelers don't. James Conner goes out there. He rushes for 111 yards on 19 attempts. He averaged over 5, almost 6 yards a carry. He was 5.8 yards a carry. His longest was 26. He had 2 touchdown rushes. He was great. The Steelers overall rushed for 112 yards, while the Bengals, all they could muster was 62. So it's, there were no turnovers on the day. So you kind of felt that, this game could go either way with a turnover. It just, was going to depend on who was going to get it and what was going to happen with it. Again, the Cincinnati, this team, it baffles me. In a game like this, to where you're playing your heated rival, you're at the top of the division, you have a chance to not put them away, but you could really put a big damper on their season. You got to take advantage of that and do it, and they don't. It's stunning to me that this team continues to do that. They don't get it done when they need to, and it baffles me. It truly baffles me. Like I said, it was 14-14 at the half. And the Bengals had the lead after the end of the first quarter, but I never felt like once we were going to win this game. I did not feel confident about it at all. It truly does baffle me. It truly baffles me that this team continues to put out performances like this, in big games against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This team's never going to get over the hump. The Steelers are in their heads, plain and simple. They're in their heads, and until this mentality changes, it's Nick. No, not all is right in the world. It's not all is right. Again, this mentality of it's Steelers week is. That has to change, because we are never going to get any respect around. I know, Nick, I know you agree with me on this one. We've talked about it, I don't know how many times, that we are sick and tired of the lack of respect around the National Football League for the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, guess what? It's not going to change until we get our head out of our ass and win a game like this. It's not going to change. Plain and simple, it's not going to change. That's what's upsetting about it, because this is a damn good football team. Marvin Lewis has a fantastic football team, and it's just, if they continue to come out there with this mentality of it's just another football game, they're not going to get over that hump. They won't. They can't do it. They simply cannot do it, and that ticks me off, because I know that there's a ton of talent on this team to get over the hump, and they can't do it. And the Steelers, you look at the time of possession, my God. And yes, exactly. And I think that's why I'm more ticked off. That's right, Nick. They are going to treat us like we are the Steelers' little brother. That's all we are. Until we change our mentality and go at it a different way against this football team. As I was leaving the stadium today, some other guy, some Steelers fan was yelling out there. He was like, "And we are still the Pittsburgh Steelers." And I'm like, well, yeah, you are. And once again, you come into our house and you kick our ass. And, the Bengals held the ball for 3 minutes and 32 seconds in the third quarter. That is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. This team, you know, and granted, you know, the game was only a one-score football game, which is stunning to me that the Steelers could not, you know, didn't blow us out of the water. That truly, I mean, that's impressive to me. The first half, you know, the Bengals, you know, they took the lead off that 2-yard touchdown pass from Dalton to Boyd, which was a beautiful pass. I mean, Andy Dalton, like I said, I know a lot of people are going to, you know, the numbers really weren't solid, but you know what? Andy Dalton had a solid football game today. He was sacked twice in the first half, but, you know, he was 15 of 24 for 122 yards. He did have the 2 touchdowns, both of them to Tyler Boyd. But, you know, the touchdown pass, the first touchdown pass that gave the Bengals the lead, you know, Dalton did a great job of laying that ball in there to where only Tyler Boyd could get it, and he made a great play. And the guy in front of us, who sits in front of us at the game, looked at me and goes, "Pay the man." And I'm 100% with you, and Nick, and don't you even say a word about, you know, Tyler Boyd is playing for his next contract, because, damn it, we have to re-sign this guy because he's a crucial part of this offense. When a team can take out A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd he's a clear-cut number 2 receiver, and he's a fantastic weapon for Andy Dalton in this offense. I got to give a credit. C.J. Uzomah did a great job. You know, he made a couple big plays today. You know, a couple huge clutch catches. You know, this team, you know, if you... Nick, don't. Nick, I'm not in the mood. Don't. I'm not in the mood. But, you know, you look at the overall picture here. Granted, yes, it's not, you know, we're 4-2, still at the top of the division, and I get that. But we've got a tough game next week against the Kansas City Chiefs, in a game that, you know, at Arrowhead Stadium at night. They are going to be jacked up, and this Chiefs team they're a great football team. They really are. So, you know, you're looking now realistically at 4-3. Thought, you know, they would be 6-2 going into the bye. You know, 5-3 is a positive scenario in this case here, because I don't see them. I don't see them being shown. We suffered a lot of injuries today, and you know it's gonna be really tough, and we have to get healthy. But overall, they have to be ready to play these big-time football games. Just plain and simple. They have to play, you know, these big games. They have to play them well. Again, we're not going to get the respect that we feel we deserve. It's not going to happen. It's, you know, if the Steelers tight ends dominate us like they did today, and Nick, I know you just mentioned this, Travis Kelce is going to absolutely us next week. You know, I was stunned at how many times Jesse James, Xavier Grimble, and Vance McDonald were wide open on a lot of these plays. And it was the majority was Vance McDonald wide open, and made it easy for Roethlisberger to either dump it off to one of the tight ends or to James Conner. And it was constant. We had no pressure on Ben Roethlisberger. It's stunning to me how this team cannot get out of their own way sometimes. It truly baffles me. It really, truly does, because this team, like I said, they have a ton of talent. A ton of talent. But when you approach a game, a rivalry game, with just, you know, it's just another game mentality, you are asking for this type of result. And a lot of the word was, you know, coming out of the locker room, a lot of the guys were, I believe it was some of the guys from Fox 19 were saying that it felt like the guys were punched in the face. Like this was you know, a devastating loss for them. Well, you're damn right it is when you approach it, you know, with that mentality and that vision going forward in a game like this of it's just another football game. Well, it's not. And things are not going to change, and we're not going to be able to knock the Pittsburgh Steelers off their perch until we change our mentality. plain and simple. I've said it numerous times already. You know, when you get the ball, again, I never felt once like we were going to win this football game. I did not feel it once that we were going to win it. And, and they certainly proved me right because, when you give Ben Roethlisberger and that offense who really had moved up and down the field on us, a minute 18 all to just kick a field goal to win the game, that's all they have to get. It's a no-brainer that it's going to happen. It was a no-brainer. It was going to happen. And it just, again, it's maddening. It truly is upsetting when you see, this team that, when you see this team go about a rivalry game like this the way they do, I just, it's upsetting. Looking, kind of breaking it down here, the Steelers ended up with 26 first downs. The Bengals with 19. Third down, again, continues to kill the Bengals, defensively. Steelers were 8 of 14. That's 57%. Until they can get that number down, things aren't going to really change. I don't believe they will. They have to get off the field on third down. And defensively, they can. I mean, they seem to, let teams, make plays on them. And it continued to be the case today. The Steelers had a total net yardage of 4. That's going to win you a lot of football games in the NFL. Going into it, I didn't. The Steelers, were the Steelers back, after they kicked the crap out of the Falcons. And I said it right from the get-go, the Falcons are a completely different team away from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And, I would take the Steelers all day over the Falcons at Heinz Field. But I think if they go to Mercedes-Benz, I think it's a different story. But, maybe the Steelers are back. Maybe this... maybe they were at the right time, and maybe this is another game for them to continue to roll on their merry way, because that's kind of what it feels like. 112 yards, rushing compared to 62. That's a pretty big difference there, and you just felt, like I said, you just felt like it wasn't going to go well for the Bengals. It just did not feel right. It truly didn't. Again, and then Big Ben outthrows, Andy Dalton 369 to 229. But again, Dalton had a great game. Andy Dalton played very well today. He made a lot of great throws. He just was, wasn't helped by a lot of drops. The Steelers averaged 8 yards of completion, which is, again, that's going to win you a lot of football games compared to the Bengals' 4.7. Again, Andy Dalton was under pressure a lot today, and he was forced to dump off a lot of passes, that weren't deep throws, and any of the deep throws were either dropped or they were incomplete. So in a game like this, nothing's going to be to your advantage if you continue to play like they did today. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. Just plain and simple, you're not going to win. Granted, this team is different. They are a different football team than in years past. I will say that. You can tell that there's not any quit in this team. You can tell because in a game, like I said, that I felt that they weren't going to win. They fought back and drove right down the field and took the lead with a minute 18 to go. Now, on that side, the defense has to step up and make a play, and they didn't. The defense was carved apart today. Granted, like I said, there was a lot of injuries. Darqueze Dennard went down with a shoulder injury. I don't know how long he'll be out. Hopefully not long. But guys stepped up and made some plays today, and I thought played pretty solid. But it's just, this was a combination of a lot of things that, it's tough. This is a tough pill to swallow here today. Again, because, in a game that I thought, going into it, I thought we would win, and I felt like we should have won. And you don't. You lose 28-21 to a team that continues to dominate you at home. And again, like I said, it's just things aren't going to change with this organization until that mentality changes. When they look at a game like this, because as long as it stays like this team's not going to win. They're not going to win this. They're not going to win a game like this. It's just they won't make it over that hump, and the Pittsburgh Steelers will continue to beat us. Because they look at it different, and I guarantee if you ask a lot of people around the league and a lot of hell in any sport, period. If you look at it, a rivalry game completely different than just another game. If you look at it as it's such and such week, it's I guarantee Michigan, Ohio State. It's Ohio State week. It's Michigan week. It's for the hell, I don't know, again, we're just gonna go right back to the Bengals Steelers. It's the Steelers look at it as it's Bengals week, and what do? They stay composed, and they they do their game plan, make plays, and they get it done because they know what is on the line. I don't feel like this team knows what's on the line when they play the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's frustrating. That upsets me. Again, all's not lost. We're still at the top of the division with a huge game next week on the road at Kansas City. And then you come home right before the bye to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into the bye week. So you have a chance to be 6-2, which is like what we had hoped, which would be, best case scenario. But, realistically, you're staring at 5-3 going into the bye, and hopefully still on top of the division. So, again, all is not lost. It's a tough loss today. It's a tough loss to the Steelers, who once again, like I said, show why they are one of the premier franchises in the NFL. I like them or not, hate them or not, they get the job done, and that's all you can really say. So this team, until they change their mentality, folks, it's not going to really change when we play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sorry, unfortunately, that's the cards we're dealt, and like I said, until things change, unfortunately, results I don't believe will. So, but like I said, we've got a big opportunity next week against the Kansas City Chiefs on primetime on Sunday Night Football. So this team, hopefully, we can get healthy, get some guys back, because you can tell this, things weren't looking good. Like I said, the injuries really, did play a big part. And our offensive line they've got to get better, plain and simple. Have to get better. But we'll see. Again, this was a tough one today, but we got to move forward. As always, thank you guys once again for your support. Make sure you check out feeltheimpactsports.com. Make sure you check me out on Twitter at I am Chris Asbrock. And I think pretty much that's it. Tough one, but we'll see what's going to happen from here. So, as always, thank you guys, and have yourselves a fantastic, a little bit somber, but have yourselves a fantastic rest of your weekend, and enjoy your week coming up. And stay tuned for the website as we look forward to the Bengals Chiefs. We'll get a preview up for that, and then also hopefully get some FC Cincinnati content as they head into their playoff matchup this coming weekend. With a team to be named later, which I'm hoping I haven't seen any. So make sure you stay tuned to the website and Twitter, and I will be back with you guys. As always, thank you, and have a good rest of your weekend. Bye.